Welcome back. I'm Andy Singer, host of Innovate Illinois and a faculty member here at the University of Illinois. Today we're highlighting sustainable entrepreneurship going on right here in the Urbana-Champaign area. We're also interviewing Trey Ward, who's come up with a really innovative idea for how to harness solar power, rainwater, and water systems. Trey, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've come up with?
Well, when working at the village of Hinsdale, I'd often go around in a big truck and I go to various locations in the village 3 or 4 times a week and water a planter. I thought to myself, what a waste of resources. So I said, why not put a system on spot that uses solar energy, that can collect water, that holds a large amount of water, and distribute it throughout the week. That way, you're saving not only municipal money, but also resources.
So you're driving around in a truck, I assume burning gas, and then you'd fill up the planters with water. Did you carry the water in the truck, or did you use local water?
It was a large truck. You're carrying a lot of water around. You're making plenty of trips, driving all around the village. And really, it was just not only wasting municipal money, but you're also, adding carbon dioxide to the environment, which is something no one wants.
It's a great idea. In fact, I see around town all the time here, people driving the Park District trucks watering all the flower beds. How did you come up with this idea?
I just thought to myself when I was going out 3 or 4 times a week, this doesn't make any sense. So I began working with some of the faculty, Brian Lilly especially, and we started developing a project so that not only could we put water inside of the planter, large amounts like 20 gallons, and that way with solar power it can distribute that water throughout the week, maybe even 2 or 3 weeks at a time. That way, instead of going out 4 times a week, you're now going out once every 3 weeks.
So what's the status of the project now? You in the class, you came up with the concept and assembled a prototype. Why don't you tell us sort of where things stand at the moment?
I actually applied for a grant from the EPA. That actually just came through. It just got a $10,000 grant a couple months ago. Also, me and Professor Lilly worked with the Meadowbrook Park District, and we recently installed a unit in Meadowbrook Park in Urbana. They have a corn crib there. We collect the rainwater into 2 50-gallon barrels, and then we distribute it through hoses. And, it worked in the beginning. We had some difficulties. We're working through them. And right now we're back up running, and hopefully everything goes good.
So I've actually seen the system, and it's quite remarkable. But for those that are watching, they might not quite have an idea or be able to create a mental picture of what's going on. So you talked about solar power and collecting rainwater. Can you sort of walk us through sort of that process of how the water comes in, where it's collected, how it's distributed, what charges it, and how that mechanism works?
So the first part is the solar panel, and it recharges a battery consistently throughout the day.
So there's a battery that's sitting in the system, like a motorcycle battery or something like that?
Yeah, just a 12-volt battery, and it holds a lot of energy, so it's not a concern about that. And then it runs through a mechanical relay, which basically is connected to a sensor. And what the sensor does is you put it in the soil, and it detects if it's dry or if it's not dry. So that way, you go around and you're watering. Well, when I was watering, you tend to water when it's already moist, and so you're pretty much you're wasting resources. This way, it only waters at the exact time that you want it to. Then there's also a couple of other features to it. There's under the soil is a capture facility. So basically, the water that goes down, often it'll just go down and then sink into the soil. This way, after it's gone through the initial 6 or 8 inches necessary to plant, it goes into the containment facility and it can be reused. Also, below that soil is that containment facility that I just talked about. If it isn't even raining, you can go around and fill it up with however many gallons it can hold, and usually it should be able to last for 3 or 4 weeks by itself.
That sounds really exciting. You mentioned that there's a pump, so this is like a submersible pump that sits inside the containment facility?
Yeah, it's just a bilge pump, sits inside of the bucket. It's got a lot of power.
So was this part of a class that you took in the Technology Entrepreneur Center?
It did all start in a class. I took TE 461, Brian Lilly, and he supported students working on a new project. So I thought back to something that I knew about, something I wanted to improve on, and just started there, one class at a time, and sure enough, it started developing, and now we actually continue to pass the class.
With the $10,000 EPA grant, how do you see that money influencing the direction of this product or this project, say, going from this initial prototype, where do you go next?
Well, the funding money is very important, because before, You know, you see something online that you might want to give a shot, but it's expensive, can't necessarily afford it. Now you have a chance to really get creative, take different components, see how they work, if they do work, if they don't work, and I think it's going to give us a lot of room to come up with some creative ideas. You need to make it universal. You know, there's plenty of different sizes and shapes of planters, and you can't just have one bucket that fits in everything. We've got to come up with a system that can fit in many different types of planters, and that way, hopefully, we'll be able to continue expanding.
It's really creative. This is a really exciting project. What I like about it is it combines solar power, saving and reusing water, and it's something that could operate in these, as you said, in these large planters as well as in flower beds. And I could even see putting it at home in my shrubs so I don't have to stand outside and water the plants all the time. Hey, thanks a lot, Trey. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment with Danielle Michelini, talking with another really amazing student who's looking into how to save and cut down on waste in the office.
It all started when I was working on a project on campus and I saw this apartment company taking out loads and loads of stuff that looked to me as perfectly usable materials. The entire dumpster was full of new stuff, as if they had emptied out an apartment or multiple apartments. So I started taking materials, and at first it was just using it around my house or building random things with the materials until my apartment got too full. And that's when I decided to sell a few things on eBay, and it grew from there. I decided to formulate a business plan and see if the numbers would work, and then I just started testing it, and it kept working and growing, and I kept saving more trash, and then I started getting creative with the trash and using my carpentry skills to build furniture out of different types of trash, trying to figure out how to solve this huge problem of extra waste.